Hello and welcome everyone to our interview tonight with Katie Bashford. My name's Brenda Rogers and I'm the training manager at Young Living. It's my very great pleasure to be interviewing Katie as she has recently gone gold, which is a huge achievement and something we're very proud of. So I'm going to ask Katie actually to introduce herself and tell us, Katie, a little bit about your story, how you came to be with Young Living, how that all started for you, and then we'll get into some beautiful hints and tips and sharing about part of that journey and how you got to gold. So, Katie.
Hi, Brenda. Thank you for inviting me onto this webinar. Well, I am here quite accidentally, really. I wasn't looking for a business at all because I had two small children, a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, when I was first given a sample of Peace and Calming by my friend Kim Della. And I knew that I wanted to have a third baby and that was going to be imminent. So I definitely wasn't looking for a business, but it found me and it's been the best thing ever. And I'm forever grateful that Kim gave me that sample of oil. But my history, I'll get back to that a little bit more in a minute, but my history prior to having babies was I studied agriculture at uni, agribusiness actually. So my career was mostly around sales and marketing and relationship management, to do with services to agriculture. And so I did that for about 10 years before going on maternity leave and having my beautiful cherubs. So the reason I wanted to share that is that I'm not a practitioner, or I don't have the health background. I had a big, strong interest in health. But, you know, I haven't come into this as an aromatherapist or anything like that, and you don't need to be either. And, so...
It's great. There's a new wave of people coming through Young Living, Katie, and you're really a representative of that. If you keep the business simple, then you don't need a degree in essential oils to be able to bring those to others and have them and share that with other people in their homes and in their health. So it's really great to have you on board as an example of that.
I actually think in some respects it makes it easier to not have be a practitioner in some respects. I mean, I would love to be a practitioner in other respects, but in terms of being replicable, I want everyone that comes to my classes to know that they can do what I'm doing. And if I am a practitioner, then they obviously think straight away, well, they can't do that like they could be a Tupperware consultant. They may not think that, but I do think it makes life easier that in some respects I'm not a practitioner. But back to when I got given the sample by Kim, I actually rolled my eyes. She gave me the Peace and Calming sample. I must have looked like a tired, frazzled mother of two small children, and we were about to go on a holiday that weekend, and I must have been talking about how much I was looking forward to going on this holiday. And she said, just try this Peace and Calming, put it on your feet tonight. And I rolled my eyes and gave very aggressive body language back that it was not going to help me. And gosh, I fell in love with it so much. When the little sachet ran out after 3 or 4 days, I was like inhaling the fumes from the empty packet. And I thought, God, this stuff is so good. And so that's the beginning of it. And now, of course, whenever I'm showing what's in the bottom of the premium starter kit with the little sachets, I always say to everyone in every one of my classes, like, have these in your handbag and make sure you share them with people that need them, because I am eternally grateful that Kim shared it with me. And so they're there, they're great to have on hand, always, those little samples.
And I understand also, Katie, that you had other interests around the oils that kind of spurred you on further with your interest in Young Living.
I Okay, so yeah, so it started with peace and calming, and then really it really just started quite accidentally that I just couldn't shut up about them, to be honest. Peace and calming and Progessence Phyto Plus, which I think everyone is sick of me asking every day when that's going to be back in stock. And I just had really great results, and so I just couldn't stop telling my family and friends. And yeah, it just started with my family and friends, and then all of a sudden I thought, I really would like to do this as a business, because I sort of felt like in the back of my mind I had been looking for something. I knew I didn't want to go back to the jobs that I had before I had children, and I'd toyed with studying naturopathy, but I didn't want to do 3 or 4 years of study. I felt like I'd done my study, and so I was in the back of my mind looking for something. It perhaps wasn't the right time, but it never is. And I'm so glad now that I still pushed through all that, because if I had have waited till my kids were grown up and at school and all that, well, then I'd have kids' sport and all of that sort of thing. But some of the things that have worked really well for me, just back to the 101s of network marketing. I first learned this when I was with another network marketing company in my early 20s, was that you have to be a product of the product. And I believed that then, and I really believe it now. So the first thing is I have all Young Living products in every room of my house, and I didn't see any of that as being, I felt like I upgraded everything that I swapped out. And it takes a while when you're just starting out. It takes a while to transition over your home. You don't have to do it on your first order, but as products run out, just replace them with Young Living products. And if, for instance, there's something that in the Young Living range that isn't in your budget, like you find the Thieves, bar of soap, is it not in your budget, then what I would recommend to my team is that they get on Google or get on Pinterest and they find a DIY soap recipe or a body wash recipe using the essential oils, and they use the products that way. So in every room in my house, I'm using Young Living. You can come and raid my kitchen cupboards or my laundry cupboards and you'll only find Young Living, and proudly so. I love them. And I think that's really important.
What benefit does that have, do you think?
Okay, so there's a lot of benefits for that. Well, straight up, you may not know what the benefits are going to be until you start getting into the product, being a product of the product. And it may be that you notice that your complexion's improved, or you may notice that all of a sudden your headaches have gone away, and not because we're doing anything that makes therapeutic claims, but because you've swapped out all of your personal care and cleaning products which had phthalates or chemicals in them. You've got beautiful ingredients in your products now. And so so starting using the Young Living products is really important, because then you're going to get stories and testimonials of your own, and that becomes really important in your message. And when you're doing classes and when you're promoting your business, you'll be using those stories and people will be listening to you. Because when I first started, I was using everybody else's stories. I was using my friend Kylie or my friend Kylie's husband, or I read this somewhere. But very quickly, when you're using the products, you get so many stories of your own and so many results of your own, that now my problem is, which ones do I leave out? Because otherwise my class will go for too long. So
it sounds like you use stories to share. Is that part of your strategy?
Well, absolutely. I don't talk about constituents or anything like that, because people just switch off with that, and it's just I just share how I incorporate these oils and products into my home. And it doesn't matter what class I do, I'm always showcasing the premium starter kit. And so I do quite a number of classes, but my most common class, to be totally honest, is an introduction to essential oils, and which is basically I just start with the safety guidelines and the seed to seal. In every single class I do, I go through the seed to seal in quite some detail, probably more detail than others because of my background in agriculture, because I understand how hard it is to farm organically, and I understand how amazing it is what we offer. But it is really important to do the seed to seal because it's our point of difference. It's what sets us apart. It's what nobody else, regardless of all the claims in the industry, they cannot do what we do. They cannot guarantee the quality that we've got. And so, yeah, the seed to seal is really important. And then, and then I will share each of the oils around the room, and I'm very generous with them. You know, I encourage people to try the frankincense on their forehead and try each oil, So, and then, at the end of going through the premium starter kit, then obviously I wrap it up with what the membership options are with the Centre Rewards and wholesale. But yeah, I just find that I'm sharing. If I'm not sharing my story, I'm sharing someone else that I know story or something that's, you know. And I try to bring humour into it a lot. Like if something funny has happened, then I'll always share it, and you know, always gets people laughing.
It's important to keep it light, isn't it?
Always light, yeah. So it's never about constituents.
So it sounds like classes are a big part of your strategy as well. Did you have a training or teaching background, or have you just kind of taught yourself along the way? And tell us a bit more about your training, your class strategy.
Okay, so classes work for me because I have a young family, so I do most of my classes at night when I can leave my children. I've got 3 children, and they're all under the age, they're 5 or under. So I do most of my classes at night when my husband basically can, you know, he's home, he can put the kids to bed, so I don't have to worry about babysitters. So I'm very fortunate with that, because I know there's many single mums who can't do that. But I do a Saturday afternoon class as well, quite commonly. But classes work for me because one-on-ones, I don't really do that much, though there is people in my team that do it really well, but I can't create the time for a one-on-one. So yeah, I mostly do classes. What I think is really important though is when you're using the products and you work out what's worked really amazingly for you, it's then important to work out what your passion is and what speaks to you the most, because if you're passionate about something, then that's so much of what you need. Because I don't think I have any amazing skills. I just think that I'm really passionate, and so I did have a background in sales, but that's so teachable. People can learn sales techniques. So if people don't have sales techniques, they can easily, you know, do an online course or get some tips from someone, or that's really easy to learn. But what I have always done throughout my career, and what I think works really well for me now, is I like to build relationships. Like I have relationships with the builders in my team. You know, they're my very dear friends now. They're my friends first. They're builders in my team second. And we all have relationships with the members in our team, and we're basically creating communities wherever we go, because we don't just do one class and then they never hear from us again. And that is common in other oil companies. I have numerous people in my team that were in other oil companies and said that once they had joined up, they never heard from them again until the day they didn't do an order, and then they got a phone call. And that's not us at all. And in fact, I often say in my class that this won't be the last you hear from me, because unless you want it to be, because we are very active. And so I do a lot of classes for existing members. As I speak now, Michelle Marsh, who is in my team, is running a make and take class at her house for existing members. So we are very hands-on with the members that we've already got. If I had to give you a ratio of classes that I do for new members versus existing members, probably 50-50 or 40-60 or something like that. So we are, and that works really well for retention, but also they love being part of the community that we're creating, so they spread the message for us. And so so it really keeps on giving to you.
Can you explain what you mean by it helps retention? How does a class for existing members work for you?
So I'll answer that as well, but getting back to, you need to work out what your passion is. My passion is creating chemical-free homes. That's where I felt I had something to offer. But it's important that everyone works out what their passion is. Like, it might be animals, or it might be like my brother. He's showing some interest in getting into the business, but he might be looking at it from supplements and Ningxia and Shutran, and he'll look at it from a completely perspective to me. In fact, he's joked that we're the old wives club, which he didn't know that I heard about that, but we all giggled, but we thought, yeah, well, he's not ever going to go and teach other mums how to make chemical-free baby products like I would do. But that's how it should be too. He has to play to his strengths, and we all have to play to our strengths. And so it's just working out where your niche is, whether it could be the cooking oil. So you might want to do cooking classes or anything like that. But how doing classes for existing members helps is that you're teaching them how to use the oils they've got. I always ask, has anyone got any oils they don't know what to do with, or have they ordered them and they can't remember why they ordered them, or and we have a very big DIY community. A lot of people in my team, I'm in a mining town. A lot of people in my team are in regional towns. So we're either services to mining or services to agriculture. And so we are all tight on for money. And so the DIY community is really, we're loving that. We're all enjoying that, because everything we make using Young Living oils, we can make for cheaper than anything shop bought, and way healthier for the homes. It's easy swap outs. So I guess what we teach, what I like to do with my team is I like to hold their hand on the journey to creating a chemical-free home. And it is a journey. It's not an easy swap out unless you've got lots of money. It's really hard just to flick a switch and say, well, I'm transitioning over my home to being chemical-free today. Well, basically, most people have to run things out first and just make better choices as they run them out. So I guess that's where we come in. We do classes, we do make and take classes, or we do all sorts of different workshops, and to fill the need, to help them show how they can use the oils to replace other things in their home.
And of course, then they've got something to put on their order for the following month.
Exactly. We always have, we print recipes out, or we have other DIY recipes that we've loved and tried and tested, and people obviously then go home and know what they need to put on the next order. I also focus a lot on the Thieves Household Cleaner in my classes. If I'm just doing an introduction to essential oils and I'm talking about the oils, I stop at the Thieves oil, and I actually talk about the Thieves Household Cleaner, because to the best of my knowledge, there's not anyone in my team that does not love that product, and not just like it, but love it. And it is the most economical way to clean your home. If you work out the costings on it, if you just sit down for a couple of minutes and work out the costings on it, and write up a cheat sheet for your team, that is on everyone's second order, if it's not on their first order. With their premium starter kit, that's on everyone's second order. The Thieves Household Cleaner, they always buy the small bottle to see if I'm really telling the truth, and then they replace it with a big bottle when that runs out. But like one capful of that Thieves Household Cleaner is 10 mils, and that's on the small bottle is 90 cents. And on the big bottle, it's 69 cents. So if you put that in a 500 ml bottle and fill it with water, your spray and wipe has cost you either 69 cents or 90 cents, depending on which size bottle you've got. So that is like less than a quarter of the supermarket version, which is so toxic. And and so I like to say in my classes that a Young Living membership is not going to add to your budget. I'll teach you in our classes how this won't add to your budget. I'll show you how you can save money making all the products that we make. The Thieves Household Cleaner is very important to me. And also I like to pass around the toothpaste, the Aroma Bright and the Kids Sense toothpaste, because they are, very quick and easy swap outs, and any herbal healthy toothpaste on the market tastes disgusting. So and those two really do taste nice. So I like people to try them as well. What else have I got written here?
I guess, sorry, I just wanted to ask a question related to topics or work or classes that you have. So I imagine when you've got new people around, and are you encouraging people who are new to your business to have a workshop, and then do you come up with a topic together, or how does that work? Because we're talking about warm market here and versus cold market. We're talking about keeping your business going. We're talking about maybe ultimately momentum, all with this classes or education strategy that you have. So how does it work that you keep the classes going?
Okay, I actually think that this is such an easy business to be part of. I feel like I'm one of the only businesses in the economy which is going really well in, when there's people everywhere that don't have work. And I think the hardest thing about this business is creating momentum. And I know exactly what that feels like, because it was only just over a year ago where I was trying my hardest to create momentum. But once you've got momentum, it's just amazing. And so to anyone just starting out, I will always say the hardest bit's creating momentum. So we've just got to do our best to get momentum happening. Once it's happening, it's just amazing. Like, I haven't seen momentum stop yet. In fact, I struggle to keep up most weeks. And so my tips for creating momentum are I prefer to ask members, someone that's just bought their kit, usually when I'm doing care calls or the week or two after their oils have arrived, and I'm going through with them what, I've rung them up and asked if they've received the oils and do they have any questions, and hopefully they're not all still sitting in a box, and I'll, remind them of what oils for what, and let them ask questions, and they'll say, oh, so needs to hear about this. Often care calls lead to a class, and the common excuse is people say, I say, well, I'm happy to create a class for you. I just ask for like 4 to 8 people, and I supply everything. I just need you just supply the friends and the kitchen table. And then commonly I hear, I don't have that many friends, which I think is a really, I hate hearing that, to be totally honest, because I think everyone can find that many people. But I've stopped letting that bother me, because I say, well, where is your friend or your sister that you want to hear this based? And then I'll try and get them along to a class nearby. And I commonly will create an open class, and all of my team can send people along. Like, I'll find a hall or a cafe or whatever. And Kylie Bryant also does that. We both do that. And we'll send, we'll put it out to our team and say, we're having a class here. You're welcome to send anyone along. And so I prefer to ask for classes from people that already have the oils, because we've had 100% failure rate by seeing people say, I'm going to ask if my mum will have a class for me, or I'm going to ask my sister to have a class for me, like you would hear with Tupperware or any of the other party plan type arrangements. And the reason we've worked out that they fail is because the host of the class really needs to be loving the products and the oils themselves. They need to have had amazing stories themselves, because if I rock up to this person's house and none of them know what to expect, or none of them know about the oils, then they could just see me as a saleswoman and potentially don't trust me, even though everything that I say is from my heart, I guarantee. It just works out so much better when the host is using the oils and loving the oils and has had amazing stories of her own or his own. And so now what I'll commonly say, if someone says, I'm going to ask so-and-so to have a class for me, I say, no, just stop, just send them some samples. Send them whatever samples you think will speak to them or they need. You know what's going on in their life, send them whatever you think they need. And when they're really loving the oils, then we'll talk about doing a class. And that works so much better than asking, you know, strangers to have a class for you. We've not had any success with that at all. Does that help?
Yeah, and what about topics?
So topics, well, I quite commonly do the introduction to essential oils, but do you know what? Sometimes people just don't want to come to an introduction to essential oils, so you just have to get resourceful. You have to, if you've got a particular group of friends that you really want them to hear what you've got going on, what you've got to offer, but they don't want to come to your class, well, then you just have to give it a different name. You just have to think up something that'll speak to them. Maybe it can be your DIY day spa, or a cooking class or something like that. But whatever class I do, I'm always showcasing the premium starter kit. So it doesn't matter how I've dressed it up or how I've badged it, I'm always showcasing the premium starter kit. And often I'll mention some other oils or throw other oils in, which then, you know, gives them something they can put on their next order as well. And we always have Ningxia at every class to try as well. So yeah, so I think people, just need to get creative with what they call the class that suits the market that they're trying to target.
So I guess that's part of your sales and marketing training that gives you that perspective, but it is something that that we can all learn about, you know, speaking to our audience, so to speak, and listening to what they need. It's a really important thing. Now here's a question from Meredith. She's asking, do you charge for your classes?
I don't charge for an introduction to essential oils. When I was first introduced to the business, I paid $15, and every time I went to an introduction to essential oils, I paid $15, and it felt really uncomfortable to me that I was inviting people to come along to a class at my house and they paid $15, and then they hopefully buy a kit as well. So very early on in the piece, we squashed that, which obviously means it cost me more, but basically since we squashed it, we found it way easier to get numbers at classes. But what I loosely try and do is I supply the product guides and the Ningxia for the first couple of classes, and then hopefully if someone wants to keep having classes after that, then they will supply it. But for workshops like a make and take class, we used to charge about $15, but now we're probably more commonly charging $20 per head, but they go home with 3 products with that as well, 3 full-size products.
And just for the statistically minded people in our audience, in terms of your success rate at workshops and at classes, and I imagine even your success rate at Essential Rewards, because that would be a part of your strategy as well. Can you give us some some figures on how well you're doing in that area?
I would say, me personally, in my classes, I probably get about 80% join Essential Rewards. And there's a few reasons for that. I like to say that I will prove to them, or I'll teach them in subsequent classes, how Essential Rewards won't add to their household budget, because we just buy differently. Like, there's so many aisles I don't go down in Coles and Woolies anymore. I like to say I just do the fruit and veggie section. If I don't go to the little, the the butcher or the fruit and veggie shop. I do the fruit and veggie shop, down the first few aisles and around the edges, the freezers and fridges, and then out. Like, there are so many aisles I don't go down at Coles and Woolies. And so for me, this has not added to my budget. Well, at the start it didn't add to my budget. I do massive orders now. But so that's a key point. I like to say that it doesn't add to their household budget, and we'll show them in subsequent classes how, with make and take class, how cheap things can be if you make it yourself. But overall in my business, my Essential Rewards percentages, last I looked, was about 56%. So obviously I'm not joining everyone myself. I have people beneath me now, but still it's quite as I understand, it's quite a good Essential Rewards percentage.
Yeah, it'd be nice to ask our audience, first of all, if they measure their Essential Rewards or their ER percentage of people who are on ER, and what that might be. But I think that seems to be a really good result, Katie. So whatever you're doing, it's working well.
Oh, thank you. Something else I was going to say about that, but other ways you can create momentum and create classes is offer a host gift as well, and make it time limited. So, like, I think that cookbook is awesome that has come out, because that's a really nice host gift. If you're finding it hard to create momentum, you can say, if you were to have an introduction to essential oils, if you have a class in the month of November and you've got 4 to 8 non-members there, then I'm offering a cookbook. You can offer whatever you like. I've offered a bottle of Ningxia before. I've offered the little purple accessories bag with a 15ml bottle of lavender in it. Whatever you think, you can have whatever you like up your sleeve, whatever you think that host, the person you really want to have a class, will love. You can just tailor it to suit them. So I don't offer host gifts that often anymore, only really when I need to get a certain leg moving. But at the start I was doing it, and now I've seen members in my team are doing that as well. But this is a hard time of year. So this is a hard time of year for people to create momentum. So if people are struggling at the moment, I would just say, put everything in place you can to get ready to fire in January. Do your best, keep momentum ticking over, but it's really got to get through silly season, and then it'll be really exciting what's going to happen next year. But I also think that the Essential Rewards gifts and the Essential Rewards program now and the PV points makes it easier than ever to sell Essential Rewards, because I actually was really worried that the gifts weren't going to be as great as they were previously. But you know what? I think it's so much better now. I actually don't even talk about the gifts at 3 months and 6 months and all of that now. I actually just talk about the PV points and how I like to save them up for the more expensive products. I like to get a bottle of frankincense with my points, or the Sheer Loom face cream or anything like that. I like to not pay for them. So the points are incredible. The PV points are amazing. So I think it's easier than ever to sell Essential Rewards now. And it's also easier that really you only have to talk about 50 PV, not 100 PV. Because 100 PV or 150 Aussie, roughly, was quite a lot for people to get their head around before. It may not be everywhere, but it is over here. We're a mining state, and mining's on the downturn. So now I find even just mentioning the 50 PV, they commonly spend over 100 PV once they see that the oils really do work and these products really are amazing. They commonly still spend over 100 PV, but it's just less of a psychological barrier when you're closing your class. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Absolutely. And, your classes, your regular classes that are educating people on what to use fits in really nicely with Essential Rewards, because they've always got something to purchase. And then you have the consumable products, which are the supplements and the cleaning products more so than the oils. They turn over more quickly in some regards, toothpaste and that kind of thing. So you've got a business for life, really, and ultimately you need fewer customers in your organisation to be able to achieve the income and the goals that you want to achieve, because each one of those people is buying more and staying with you, as opposed to having to go out and find more people and more people and more people. So it just seems like a really clever strategy.
I really believe this is a business for life. I really believe Young Living has a massive point of difference. The network marketing company that I was in my early 20s was New Ways. I tried so hard. I went to all of their trainings for so long, and that's where I knew about being a product of a product and all of that sort of stuff. I tried really hard for a couple of years, and I signed one member. And that's where I first developed my interest in chemical-free products as well. But do you know how glad I am that I did not build a New Ways business? I'm so glad every single day, because I learned some skills there. But that business now, in my opinion, does not have a point of difference. It did back then, but it doesn't now. But Young Living has a massive point of difference, and it always will have a big point of difference. And people don't buy Young Living products for a season. Like, they don't come into this for a season like they would everything else that is out there in people's faces at the moment, like isogenics and all of these things. People aren't going to buy those products forever, but they will buy Young Living products forever. You just have to look after your team and keep your team engaged and keep educating your team, and then the rest comes. It's taken a long time for builders to put their hands up in my team. Like, I think for over a year I was really building by myself, and I joke with them now. I say, you all made me work for it. And but now, yeah, they're just popping up left, right and centre, because they just can see the awesomeness of what we've got, the products and the business and the community we've created. And and the key is to make everything replicable. So I don't have a website or anything fancy. I don't write a blog. I've written one newsletter, actually. That's my New Year's resolution, is to get better at newsletters and get a better database happening. But I do a lot of classes, and I keep up with everyone on Facebook, and we just keep going that way, and demand hasn't let up. We've been really busy.
Yeah, it's really simple. Meredith has another question about when people came on board, but I'd also like to segue into going gold and I mean, even going silver, how that happened for you, whether it was planned, whether it was just part of that momentum that occurred, whether you were really strategic about it, and what you had to do to make that happen. Can you share with us a little bit about your about going gold or even going silver, how that went for you?
Going silver was like 6 weeks after I had my third baby. It was like such a crazy time. It was a blur of sleep deprivation back then, and looking back, I had really one leg that was developing, and that sort of kept going by itself with classes that either myself or Kylie would do. But the other legs, I would just I didn't really have a builder, but I would just keep following leads myself, and I would just keep doing classes myself. And along the way, builders popped up. So I certainly have never had anyone put their hand up on the first day and say, I want to do this as a business. Until this week, actually. The first time that happened to me was this week in a class. Someone said, I want to be a consultant, which is not how, I don't call myself a consultant, but that's what she said in the class. And I thought, wow, is this what it feels like 2 years on? Like, I finally had someone say it at the first class. But going gold, jumped from silver to gold quite quickly. My team really was inspired by Melissa Pepping when she came in March. Like, my team really loved the make and take concept, and and we do a lot of make and takes in our team, and people are really loving that. So that, I guess keeping it simple and having simple classes was really what made people see that they could do this as a business. Because it's not that hard. It's not that hard to do a make and take. Like, really, anyone can do that. You just have to be passionate. You just have to be passionate about getting chemicals out of homes. There's too much ailments in society, full stop. There just wasn't these ailments 30 years ago that there is now. And what correlates quite closely is the amount of chemicals in our homes, in our personal care products, in our cleaning products. And it's scary how many chemicals are in our home. It's really disturbing. And so what is really nice is that with Young Living, you don't have to read labels. You don't have to plug any ingredients into the Chemical Maze app, because they are all sound. They're all beautiful, pure ingredients. And and you can keep out of the supermarkets as well and support small business.
So what was your biggest challenge in getting to gold? What have you found have been the personal challenges or the hardest things for you to overcome?
The hardest personal things is that I've had a really young family, and it's been a really busy time. My husband and I this year have also been building a house 2 hours away. We're relocating in 3 weeks' time. I've had a lot going on a personal level, and trying to keep the balance in my life has been really challenging. And if anyone thinks that I have had balance in their life, or let me tell you, I haven't. I've been completely unbalanced, and in fact, it's my New Year's resolution is to make sure I get some balance in my life, because I need to be a better role model of that. And things will settle down once we've relocated in a few weeks' time, and I can breathe. So on a personal level, that has been probably the hardest thing with small children, is to have so many balls up in the air for so long. And having a busy business as well. I've noticed as I've moved from silver to gold that my role's becoming more about people management as well, not just about doing classes, but a lot more people management. But that's all fine. I've got a great team. I've got a really beautiful team, and everyone works really well together. It's just something I've noticed, and I'm doing a little bit more of that, and coaching. Other challenges, definitely creating momentum was the hardest thing. But once you've done that, then you're just sailing. As long as you keep things simple, as long as you're resourceful, you just have to think about what the people are that you want to come to a class, and you just have to work out what's going to speak to them. And then you have to create a class that suits, and you're always talking about the premium starter kit, because that is by far the cheapest way of getting into Young Living oils, and they're really great value, and it's a really great kit. Other challenges. My husband at first thought I was working really, really, really hard for not much. And I was working really, really, really hard for not much, because it's definitely not a get-rich-quick scheme. And he didn't really understand network marketing like I did from my previous experience in New Ways. Even though I tried to tell him about it at times, he didn't really understand it. It wasn't really until I went gold and that he saw my gold check that he started paying attention. Mm-hmm. And now I find that he's asking me, so how's your growth going? How's your OGV going? When's your next class? How many nights out are you this week? And I'm like, oh God, slow down. Let's just not talk about the classes for a second. So like his perspective has completely changed now. And I understand why he found it hard, because, we had a young family. We were often, up for teething or whatever you're up for with babies, or just to put the dummy back in. And, then I'm working till 10 o'clock every night on my computer and not sitting out on the lounge with him. And he was just thinking, why is she working so hard for these sub $500 checks or $800 checks or whatever they were. But he can see it now, and we're both glad that we held on through that time. And so, like, I like to share that story with new builders, that it's not a get rich quick scheme, but it's a business that's flexible around families. It's great for young families like me, because I will do classes when it suits my family, and when I've got someone to watch my children, and if it doesn't, then I don't do the classes. So if I was back working in the workforce, my children would be in so much more daycare than what they are now. And so it is really a great business for anyone that wants flexible hours with the and doesn't want to work for somebody else. Like, all the work I'm doing is for my own family and for my own business and for my own team. And yeah.
About how many hours a week do you work, Katie?
Oh gosh, I don't know the answer to that one. I'm probably on Facebook way too much. Like, between tasks in my home, I seem to have to stop and check Facebook, which I need to get better at scheduling. That's another New Year's resolution. But I probably do 4 to 6 classes a week on average, most nights. And yeah, so 4 to 6 classes. Wow. And they're 2 to 3 hour classes. So I don't have a lot of downtime, but that's the compromise for not wanting it to impact on my young family. So either I do classes in the day and my children are in daycare, or I do classes at night and my children always have mum and or dad with them. And so that's just how it's worked best for me at the moment.
And what do you say to your kids to engage them in the process, to have them on board?
Yeah, my kids, they love their oils. So we call them magic oils, and Nincture is magic juice. And so when I say mum's got to go to a meeting, I say I've got to go and teach other mums and dads about our magic oils, and they're like, oh, okay, mum, okay, you go and teach other mums about our magic oils. And because it's an important part of their day and their rituals and their routines, and they really love our oils. So I think in a roundabout way, they're really proud of what I do. And my mum was a nurse growing up, and I really hated getting off the bus and the evenings that she was on a late shift. Like, I really hated that. But, you know, I was so proud that she was a nurse. I told every school teacher every year, my mum's a nurse. Like, I'm so proud that my mum's a nurse. And so in a little roundabout way, like, even though I love the idea of being a stay-at-home mum and all that, which I pretty much am, I hope my children will look up and be proud one day that, you know, of what I achieved while they were quite little.
Mm. Well, we only have a few minutes left, Katie, and April, your question about the coal market, I actually think we probably addressed that to some degree regarding the way that Katie works with getting workshops. But just by way of wrapping up, Katie, and also April asks about any books that you recommend, although it does sound like there's a lot of on-the-job training that you guys have received. But by way of wrapping up, if you can just talk about, have you had to approach the coal market, or if you have, did you have any success with that? But from what you've said, it really does sound like you've got enough growth there in your warm market with those leads that you get from workshops and classes. That's all you need. So,
I've had very little success. If not, I can think of one person actually in my team that I've enrolled that was from cold market advertising on Facebook. I've advertised on a lot of like buy and sell groups and things about class that I'm having. I've never had any interest. But to be honest, I don't really feel like I need to go down that path at the moment. At the start, creating momentum, of course, it's something definitely worth trying. But I have definitely always worked on the warm market, and I've seen success all through my team with the warm market and leads coming organically from the warm market, because it's so much nicer having people in your room that are known to you or known to the host. Because one of the things that's unsettling for me with the cold market is you don't really know who's in the room. You don't know if they're someone that's quite high up in another oils company, or you don't know if they're just coming to learn what you're doing and take it back to their own business. You don't really know anything about them. So I personally prefer to work on the warm market.
Yeah, it tends to be, exponentially more successful as a strategy. So could I ask you to, by way of summarising and by way of finishing, give your favourite hints and tips or words of advice, words of wisdom to anyone growing their Young Living business, or wanting to achieve gold, or even early on maybe they're a star. Just what you say to encourage people about growing a Young Living business.
So it's really the most beautiful business to be part of. I love everything about Young Living. I love everything about their products. I love everything about their ethics and integrity. It is a business for life. People will be using these products for life if you teach them how. If you just sell them the premium starter kit and then you never contact them again, then they will likely just buy the premium starter kit. So if you've got retention problems, you have to look at engaging your team and getting your team on board and making things fun, making classes fun. And it's definitely a really attractive business to be part of. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme, and 98% of people fail at network marketing. And I've had plenty of reasons to pull out. Let me tell you, all the stuff that's been going on this year in my life and with the young family, there's been so many reasons why I could have thrown in the towel, but I'm so glad that I've held on through the hardest times and through days where I've said to Kylie, I've said to Neil, I do not know how I'm going to get through this week. I do not know how I'm going to get through all the classes that I've got this week and all the stuff that I've got scheduled for the kids. And I can't tell you, I don't have words big enough to explain how grateful I am that I did hold on through the hardest bits. So I highly recommend teaming up with someone. We all team up. We have a lot of people in our team that work really well together. So whether it's your upline or your crossline or someone on your front line, team up and create classes together, or work out some recipes, or work out how you're going to have fun, work out what you're going to do. But teaming up does make it a lot easier. I mean, Kylie, Brian and I work really closely together. We joke we speak to each other more often than we speak to our mums, just about every day. Mm-hmm. We have a ban on Sundays. We don't talk on Sundays. So it is really good to team up. And yeah, just creating momentum's the hardest bit. So if people are hitting dead ends, you just have to get resourceful. Once you've got momentum, it's easy. And then, it's all about how you close. So you have to have a strong close. If you are wishy-washy with how you close your class, which I've seen many people starting out do that, you have to get some advice around that. You have to get some help about how to do a strong close. Maybe even look on YouTube. There's probably something on there. But you need to close with confidence, and you need to, and it's about the words that you choose as well. So if you start saying things like, if that's too expensive for you, the premium starter kit, then look at the basic starter kit. I mean, I just wouldn't say if that's too expensive for you. I would just say there's another alternative, which is the basic starter kit. But if they want any of the oils in the premium starter kit, if they want the Panaway, or if they want there's something in that kit they want, then they're crazy if they don't buy the premium starter kit. I've seen someone in my team who sewed a heap of handmade bibs and sold them at a weekend festival to create enough money to buy the premium starter kit. Then on her second order, she asked all of her neighbours what they wanted to buy, if they wanted to buy a lavender oil or they wanted to buy this, and her second order was filled by other people's requests, because she was so poor. And then her third order, she started slowly adding to her stockpile of products, which she, pretty much used all of her premium starter kit by that stage. And now she is 1 or 2 months away from reaching silver. And she's told me she wants to be platinum by the end of next year. Like, it's completely changed her life on so many levels. And, I just love that. I just love everything about that. There's something so beautiful about this business. So she was resourceful. She knew she wanted the oils, but she couldn't afford it. So she made it work. And now she's a really keen business builder, and she's going to go all the way to the top. And so I hope that helps in some way.
I think that's a fantastic way to end, Katie. And it's, what you've shared has been extremely practical. And for those people who are listening, absolutely amazing. In fact, I'd like to ask everyone to type into the chat box something they've learned tonight, and something that they're potentially going to take away and implement. And by way of acknowledging Katie for the time that she's contributed tonight to speak to you, it'd be great for her to see what you've learned. So please type away. And in the meantime, Katie, I really want to thank you for your wonderful, generous sharing of all the things that you've been doing. Well, I'm sure we could talk for hours more, but a lot of the things that have been contributing to your success. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. I really enjoyed it. So I hope it's helpful to everyone.